What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, the lovely folks over at the One Piece card game are going to reveal a couple of very exciting looking cards, including a Super Rare Sanji, so I think that's a pretty good place to start. Now, I did do these translations myself, and as I start recording this video, I've not seen anyone else post the translations, so I will double check with hopefully somebody before I actually post this, but as it stands at the moment, I'm going purely on my translations. Let's get rolling. Although Sanji, to be fair, is fairly easy on the translation front, if you're used to doing One Piece cards, I mean. So we got a 4-cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000, super rare. Sanji's got a super rare. And actually, I learned the other day that in Japanese, Sanji means disaster. Now, I don't know if there's any kind of connection, but one of the ways to say disaster in Japanese is Sanji, so cool, I suppose. And a lot of you are probably already going to be able to tell it's a blocker. That first skill is blocker. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. Nothing more complicated than that. It is a blocker. It is a yellow blocker, and that's lovely. But there are a couple of very interesting things about this card, including the fact that it's got trigger, discard a card from your hand, and play this card. We've actually seen this with a bunch of the yellow cards recently, that they've had trigger, but only if you discard a card from your hand first. Charlotte Montdor, that makes you discard a card from your hand in order to play. There's a nice example. There are others that'll do for the moment. The point is, oh, there we go, Charlotte Perospero. There's another one. Very cool. My point is, we've seen this before, this is fine. As long as you've got a card in your hand you don't mind dropping, you get to play this for free. But the thing is, when I say you're playing this for free, this is a decent blocker. This is a 5,000 power blocker that you are going to be playing for free. That's not too bad. Remember, 5,000 is the minimum amount that your opponent is going to be attacking with, because leaders have 5,000 power generally and tie goes to the attacker. So you're not really going to see your opponent attacking with less than 5,000. That doesn't make a huge amount of sense when they're going after the life. But of course, if they're going after characters, they may well be going with something a little bit smaller. The point is, 5,000 power, decent blocker. We're all right with this, ladies and gentlemen. We're all right with this. It's a blocker that you can play for free, and that's lovely. And the trigger really does make this card significantly better. I like having a yellow blocker and all of that, but the fact that I can be playing this for free, as far as I'm concerned, really does make this way better. I would like a free blocker. But there's more, ladies and gentlemen. There's more. Because remember the leader Arlong from OP-03? It's a dual colour green and yellow. And Don X2, when attacking, pay 1. Play up to 1 character card with a cost of 4 or less with trigger from your hand. And would you believe it, ladies and gentlemen, this just so happens to be a yellow card, because you can only play yellow and green with Arlong, with trigger and a cost of 4. So now all of a sudden, not only can you play this for free with trigger, which incidentally is pretty gosh darn cool, but you can also play it essentially as a 1-cost in an Arlong deck, and both of those combined just makes me very happy. The fact that you can do both of them is absolutely awesome. And at this stage, like me, you're probably thinking, well, all right then, Wassy, what other options have we got? What other yellow blockers do we have with trigger? Exactly one. It is Charlotte Brûlée. In terms of yellow blockers with trigger, all we've got is Charlotte Brûlée from Starter Deck 7. Now, the good news is the Charlotte Brûlée trigger says that you can just play this card. You don't have to discard a card from your hand. But the bad news is you're talking a 1,000 power blocker. Well, that's rubbish. Like, don't get me wrong, you'll still get the block in, but that's it. You'll get the block, and then it's going to go away, and that's it. You get the one deal, and you're done. I much prefer this one. And if I'm playing Arlong, you better believe I want to have some blockers. This is the best option. Way better than Charlotte Brûlée. Okay, it's a 4-cost, not a 3-cost, but outside of that, just plain better. Because the thing about trigger is, right, you're putting 5 cards in your life, you got a 50-card deck, you got like a 10% chance a card's going to end up in your trigger. Although if you play like 4 copies, then it's nearer to a 40% chance. But the point is, even with all that, you can't just rely on the fact that these trigger cards are going to appear in your life and appear there at the right time. They're far more likely to appear in your hand than they are in the life. So now, if it comes in your life, yay, play it for free. If it comes into your hand, yay, play it as a one cost. Certainly in an Arlong deck, I think this is great. But I honestly just think this is generally a pretty gosh darn good card. I am a big, big, big fan of this card. Sweet! But wait! There's more, ladies and gentlemen. There's more. Because there was also an event card revealed. Now, for the life of me, I am struggling to get the name of this. I'm struggling to translate the name by myself. It's basically, now I know it's Gum Gum, and then the kanji there are My Fire Fist Pistol. Or gun, really, not really pistol. However, fist gun means pistol, so it's basically saying My Fire Pistol? Gum Gum My Fire Pistol? I don't know, let's call it Gum Gum Fire Pistol unless somebody's got something better. It literally reads Gum Gum My Fire Pistol, so I don't know. Let's call it Gum Gum Fire Pistol, and if anybody's got a better translation, I'll change it if I see it before the video uploads. Either way, we got a decent card here. We got a 6-cost card, and as a main, you choose a character and return it to the bottom of the owner's deck. And it specifically says the owner's deck. Not your deck, not your opponent's deck, the owner's deck. What that means is you can target either one of your characters with this or one of your opponent's characters. And it is any character whatsoever. There's no limits being put on here. There's no cost such and such or low or any of that. You just choose a character up to 1 and then you return that character to the bottom of their owner's deck. And this is good. If your opponent has got a particularly annoying character that you want rid of, this will put it to the bottom of their deck and make it go away. We have seen the odd shuffle card here and there, which is nice, but most of the time here, it actually just means that they're just not getting it back. Most of the time in the One Piece TCG, when a card goes to the bottom of the deck, it's not coming back. But similarly, you can put a card to the bottom of your deck, hoping it does come back, or some kind of shuffle draw you can use. I think most of the time, you're probably going to be trying to use this to get rid of one of your opponent's characters, but the option does, exist to put one of your characters back into your deck to try and use it again later, which is lovely. As a trigger, it's very similar, but it is now specifically choose up to 1 cost 4 or lower character, and then return it to the bottom of the owner's deck. So as a trigger, it's a very similar thing here. The big difference is that it is limited to a cost 4 or lower. It has to be a cost 4. It cannot be anything above. But then again, it's a 6-cost event you're essentially getting for free when it comes out as a trigger. So you understand they're not probably going to give you this good an effect for free, although I kind of wish they would. That would be awesome if you were playing it, not if you were playing against it. I like it. It's fine. It's not absolutely stunning, and as some people have already pointed out over on Twitter, this is a souped-up version of 3000 Worlds. Now, 3000 Worlds came out in OP-04, so we don't yet have an English scan of it, but the main there was place up to 1 character of a cost of 5 or less to the bottom of its owner's deck, rather than any character, and as a trigger, place up to 1 character of a cost of 3 or less at the bottom of its owner's deck, rather than 4. So this is a more expensive but more powerful version of literally that card. It costs 2 more, but the trigger lets you go after a 4 cost rather than a 3 cost, and the main lets you go after any rather than a 5 cost. So, kind of interesting. I do worry that it's a little bit too expensive. I love that you can just get rid of any threat off the board though. Even with it being a 6 cost and being quite expensive, the fact that you can, get rid of literally anything off the board is extremely powerful. That alone might see it seeing a whole bunch of play. But let's finish off having a look at one more card here, a card that I very much like because thematically it's very appropriate, though the translation for this one was a pain. Mr. 2 Bon Clay Bentham. 3 cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And it's got a trigger, Don -1, you can play this card. Yay, another one we can play for free. But the main skill here, when your opponent attacks, Don -1, this character's original power becomes the attacking character or leader's power until the end of the turn. Now, the reason it says original power here is in case there's something that's boosting up your power. Now, obviously, it's not going to be Dawn cards. Dawn cards are not going to work, but there's various cards out there that boost power. This is to try and catch them. But basically what this means is if your opponent tries to take this down, they will. Remember, when you're attacking in One Piece, the tie goes to the attacker. So you can don -1 here to basically make your power the same as theirs. What you can do, however, is use one of those skills that gives you a little bit of extra power. Any amount of extra power, and then you basically guarantee to win the tie, so they won't take you out. Which I find very, very funny. Thematically, this is of course very appropriate, because, well, number 2, Mr. Bonclay Bentham, his skill is that he copies. That's what he does. So this is kind of cool. Like the new Frankie from this set, which lets you have an extra 1,000 power as an example. Or Uta from OP-02 that gives all of your characters an extra 1,000 power. Something like that. It's a weird kind of card, I'm going to be honest with you. But it's kind of cool and I kind of like it. If nothing else, it's got a cool trigger and a very thematically appropriate effect. And of course, don't forget that it is a Don -1 on your opponent's turn, so the Crocodile Leader from OP-04 will kick in and give you that -1 back. Remember, that's a skill whereby if you do a Don- on your opponent's turn, the first time you get one back, and life is awesome. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm personally really hyped for Sanji. I think this new Sanji is really cool, but I want to know what you think, so let me know in the comment section. Would you go nuts? Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.